Hi guys, here's a video on how I single-handedly made my basketball rim at home using local materials. As you can see, I had to remove the old plank for my old rim and I removed the nails. For the nails that couldn't come out, I had to bend them. Then I placed the new plank and I tested the hoop if it fits. It was time for me to put the bolts to join the hoop and the backboard together so it can be solid. I'm using a hammer because the holes are drilled for the bolts were not big enough. When I was finished putting the bolts, I placed the hoop on it and started tying it with the knots. Now, because of the rain, I could not continue tying it outside, so I had to come to the veranda. Now, with the help of a spanner, I was able to tie it well and strong. Although the tying of the bow took time, but I was patient enough to do it well with the help of the spanners. And as you can see, it's strong. To continue with the next step of the work, I cleared the area so it looked neat for me to continue. I used two pieces of wood to link the planks I used for the backboard. I started nailing them, but the nails were not good enough because they were rusted, so they were bending. That's why I used my hammer to make them straight so I can manage since they are local tools. The surface was not straight, that's why I had to use little pieces of plank to make them balance so I can nail them properly. I removed nails from the old plank I had to straighten them I used since I never had good nails, so I had to manage the one I could. As I was nailing, some of the nails were short, so I had to nail some of them twice on one spot to make it strong since the nails were short. I'm done nailing the other wood, so it's time for me to nail the board which the hoop was tied on. Because of the method I used when I started, now I'll have to suspend the backboard so I can nail the board well. I had to make the three boards aligned and well supported so when nailing it should be stable. But the wood I used couldn't do the job, so I had to use my leg and support it well. The nails were not still enough, so I just had to keep removing nails from the old plank. Then when nailing, I was checking to see if it's stable because if it's not, then I was doing a bad job. I'm done with all the nailing, so I removed the support I used to suspend the rim off. I had no choice but to keep removing rusted nails from old planks to manage, since I had no nails. The nails I removed from the plank were not good enough, so I used my hammer to make them straight and keep using them. I made sure no nails projected to the other side, so when I'm done with the rim and I start playing, my ball should not be at risk of getting burst. The few good long nails I had, I used them to link the backboard to the pole. I kept checking if I'm doing it right so it can be stable and if to the other side. The nails trouble me a lot though, but there's one thing I know, giving up is not an option. The nailing part was a bit tough because there were a lot of bad nails, so I had to be careful and took a lot of time. All the time was worth it though, because it needed to be straight and balanced. I'm almost done. Damn, my back. The nailing took a lot of time too. Now I'm done with the nailings and it's strong. So I started digging the hole to put the rim down. I dug the hole well enough so it should be deep so that the rim does not fall off if there is too much wind. I finished digging, so it was time for me to carry the rim up now and place. It was so heavy that it fell on my shoulder. Dirt got into my eyes for a while, and I had a minor scratch on my shoulder. But I never gave up though. I had to continue. I carried it up again. This time I did it with care so it doesn't fall on my shoulders again. Then I gently placed it in the hole I dug. I was scared so it doesn't fall on me again. That's why I kept checking. So I grabbed my hammer to hit the little piece of wood I put to support it from falling. I started using stones, putting them down and hitting it with the hammer so it doesn't fall off. Then finally I was done. I made my first bucket from the new rim. Then I missed my second and I made my third. I made a couple of buckets though. Then I decided to try out some left hand layups. Damn, it was too easy. If you have gotten this far, please don't forget to show your young brother some love. Hit the subscription button, like, drop a comment and share.